What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be ranking every single Minecraft mob. It's going to be a simple tier list, just going from, oh man, I like that mob, to, no, I don't really like that mob. You don't have to think too hard about it. We're also going to rename these tiers as we get to them, because C doesn't really speak to me, I'll be honest. So we're going to start with the Creeper, and I think the Creeper is going to warrant the first name change, which is the game is not the same without them. And I'll be honest, I think this one's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, his face is in the logo. He's the face of the franchise. How can you put him any lower? Next up, we've got the pig, and the pig is going to be going in the pretty stand-up guy tier. I mean, the pig's alright. He's a funny little guy. He's got a nice model. You know, when you're looking for food, maybe you're gonna prefer your cows. You're gonna prefer your sheep because they produce wool, right? But the pig's okay. You know, you see your pig walking around the world, you're not gonna go, man, I don't like that guy. Next up, we've got our skeleton. And skeleton is gonna go in the bit of an icon tier. Now, under normal circumstances, he would probably fit in the game is not the same without them, but he's killed me a couple times, and you know, it kind of irritates me. So, he gets demoted. Next up, we've got the spider, and I think the spider is going to join the pig in stand-up guy. He doesn't have the same iconography as the creeper. You know, he doesn't exude Minecraft in the same way. The sheep, on the other hand, I think it's safe to say he's probably going to land in the game is not the same without them. And this might be a controversial take, but I feel like the fact that he's in that position to produce beds. Everyone's looking for sheep on their first night. It's a matter of fact. He is pivotal to a gameplay playthrough, and that's why I believe he is an icon of the gameplay sphere. Next up, we have the zombie, and I think I'm going to put the zombie with the skeleton. Tiers aren't ordered, by the way. In the icon tier, because I feel like he is similarly iconic compared to the skeleton. He hasn't killed me. Next up is the chicken. I feel like the chicken can go in a bit of an icon tier as well. I think maybe he's just a bit more well known than the pig, as well as dropping feathers for arrows and dropping eggs, which means you can make them a lot faster. Cow is going to go in. The game is not the same without them, simply because, I mean, think about it. Steak is probably the best early game food. Drops leather. I mean, he's that guy, right? He's that guy. Alright, we're going to introduce a new tier with the Ghast. He's going to end up in, I mean, yeah, they're here tier. And I think this one speaks for itself. I mean, they dropped the Ghast tier. But other than that, they're just kind of a menace in the nether, and you don't really think about them. Maybe with the introduction of the Happy Ghast, they're going to end up bumped up a couple of tiers. We're going to have to see how that one sort of winds out. I feel like it's too early to call on this new rookie season of the Happy Ghast, and I think we'll have to see how his play evolves. Next up, we have the slime, and I think the slime's going to be a difficult call between the pretty stand-up guy, and I mean, yeah, they're here, and it has to do with your stance on redstone. If you're a sticky piston guy, you're thinking, surely he's pretty stand-up, but if you're not, you're thinking, I mean, yeah, they're here. Now, because you don't need slime balls for leads anymore, it really does just land on this sticky piston idea, and personally, I think he's going to end up in pretty stand-up guy. I think his role in the sticky piston and dropping slime balls is just pivotal, and I feel like it's important to recognize this role. Next up is the zombie piglin, and we're going to put him in the you make me sad tier. And the reason for that is, I'm going to come out and say it, he replaced the zombie pigman. And that makes me sad because every time I see him, I see the zombie pigman and I see sort of his ghost. And it's sad to look at. It really does hurt me. Right here, in my heart. You can't see it, but I'm pointing at my heart. Makes me very sad to see him gone. You know, I'm still not used to it. It was 1.16, several updates ago. But I still miss him. I still miss him. Right here in my heart. So that's why he goes here. Because he is the downgrade. Next up is the cave spider. Just kind of a worse spider, I'll be honest. You only see him in mine shafts. I mean, yeah, they're here. The Enderman. Now, I think he definitely goes in the game. It's not the same without them. Some would argue icon, but he is pivotal to the end of the game. You cannot win the game. You cannot win Minecraft without the Enderman, as well as sort of being the inspiration of Slenderman comes through. He's very ominous, you know. He strikes fear in a way that perhaps the zombie does not. And I would also argue he does have icon status. And I think these come together to definitely promote him into the highest tier. Next up is the Silverfish, and I'm going to put him here solely because the Silverfish is annoying. He annoys me. Silverfish annoys me. There's nothing much you could do with him. Although I might have to reconsider with the recent addition of the Silverfish spawning potions, the infested potions, which means you can make XP farms with them, probably does bump them up a tier or two. I think maybe, I haven't made one yet, but I think maybe it could bump them up to, I mean, they're here. That's a big improvement. But the fact that they are actually useful for something, you know what I mean? Definitely does promote them a couple tiers. Squid is going to go on pretty stand-up guy. I mean, ink sacs are good, and then you got the glow squids coming up later on. Kind of stole a bit of thunder, but squid are consistent. Ink sacs are good for a lot of things. And you know, they're just guys. You know, they haven't really annoyed me in any way. Just good people. The wolf goes in. The game's not the same without them, because let's be honest, who has created a world and not tried to tame a dog? If you say me, you are lying. Don't lie to me. I know what you are. You love doggies. And so do I, and that's why they go in. The game's not the same without them. The Blaze. Now you may argue that they should go with the Enderman in the game is not the same without them, because they are required to beat the game, as well as playing a pivotal role in brewing. Now I love brewing. I'm a brewing guy. But, big but, I don't think they have the same aura as the Enderman. Now the Enderman, you see the Enderman, it's like 3 blocks tall, and it strikes fear into your heart, right? You're like going through a cave, and then boom, Enderman around the corner. Whoa, run for your life. But the Blaze, you're going through the fortress, and you're like, I have to be watching out for blazes, and then you turn around and you see a blaze spawner, and then like the blaze is spinning in the middle, and you're like, I'm about to see some blazes, and the blazes spawn, and then what? Oh, what? I didn't see this coming. Come on, seriously? And I don't feel like they strike the same fear as the Enderman, and that's why they do not reach. The game is not the same without them stats. The Ender Dragon, I believe, I don't need to explain myself here, let's be honest. Magma Cube, or Slime, I mean, he's there. He exists. Thanks for coming, buddy. Next up, the Mushroom. I know, personally, that there are Mushroom fans out there. I am not a Mushroom fan. However, I go to the Mushroom biome every now and then, and I see one of these guys, and I'm like, man, what a novel mob. I'm glad that the Minecraft developers, I'm glad Mojang came up with this mushroom, because I go to the Mushroom biome, and there's stuff there, you know, it's not just empty. And I think that is such a key thing, because let's say there were cows in the Mushroom biome. You would be like, what are the cows doing here? Right? It doesn't make any sense. But the mushroom, that's clever. It's clever, because it makes sense for the mushroom to be there. They can populate the island. It doesn't look like a desert. But it still makes sense. And that's why I think the mushroom is a clever design, and ends up in pretty stand-up guy tier. Hi, puppy. What do you know? Alright, Snow Golem. And I think we're going to introduce a new tier here. Who? I'm going to put the Snow Golem in who tier, because, let's be honest. I mean, I can see an argument that he is an icon, but I just don't see it. I think you show someone a Snow Golem, and they can guess it's from Minecraft simply because it's made of blocks. No other reason. I don't think the Snow Golem is as iconic. And let's just think about what Snow Golems are good for. Maybe you use them in blaze farms, but nobody even does that anyway. Like, it's so much easier to just attack them by hand. They can produce infinite snow. That's great. Yeah, if you are an avid snow collector, maybe you want infinite snow. Me personally, I don't need all that. And that's why they go in who tier. Villager, it goes in the game is not the same without them. The whole concept of villager trading. What will you now, puppy? Where was I? The whole concept of villager trading is just a pivotal part of the game. It's core to the very experience. You can't name one world that doesn't have a villager trading hall in it. One world that has gone to completion. You know, where the player is like, man, I love this world and this is my main world, and they don't have a villager trading hall. That's not a thing. It doesn't exist, and that's why I believe the game is not the same without them. Cats. I mean, cats are alright. They're not the same as wolves, because wolves are like icons, right? And cats are like, they're more difficult. Don't you know that, Boopy? And you only find them in villages. So I feel like they're less of an icon as wolves, but in recent years, I feel like they've had a upsurgence. They're more prevalent, but I don't believe that they're on the same level as wolves. I think there's still a great disparity there, and that's why they only land themselves in pretty standard guide tier. The Iron Golem. I think this guy ends up a bit of an icon because, I mean, there's nothing quite like walking through a village and seeing a big, sturdy Iron Golem. It gives a sense of safety and it makes the villagers feel like they're they should exist, that they haven't been overrun by mobs, that the Iron Golem exists. And I think it's a great addition to the game. And I believe it has icon status. Everyone knows what the Iron Golem is. Like everyone's tried to kill an Iron Golem and realized very quickly that it's not going to work. And it's sort of a cool part of most players' experience of Minecraft, and that's why they end up in a bit of an icon. The Ocelot, I think, with a heavy heart, I have to place them in Who tier. Now, when I was a small child, I remember the Ocelot being a much bigger part of the game. Right? I would read this book. I had this book, and it would talk about the Ocelot and how they would scare off creepers. And I'm like, man, these guys, they're the goats. The Ocelot are perhaps God's gift to Minecraft. They can scare off creepers. That's crazy. And real ones, remember, when you tamed an Ocelot, it would turn into a cat, right? That's how you would get cats back in the day. Not anymore. Now you just get cats, and Ocelots are forgotten. In fact, they only spawn in the jungle. Very sad. And it sort of drags them down. It's a sad reality. It's a very sad reality, and that is why they only land themselves in Who tier. The Bat. I think I want to put the Bat in. I mean, yeah, they're here tier. I believe I have been pretty prejudiced against the Bat for quite a while, and the reason I believe that is my very first experience with Minecraft was seeing my friend's brother play the game, and he had this build, and he didn't light it up at all, and there were bats like flying around, and every single time he'd go into his house, there was a bat, like a couple bats that had spawned, and he had to kill them, and that would annoy me to no end. So I have always found bats incredibly annoying, and that prevents them from going any higher. Witch is gonna go in pretty stand-up guy tier. I mean, pretty rare spawn. Witch huts are pretty cool. They don't really do much. Still pretty iconic. We need them for a beacon. The game is not the same without them. Wither skeleton is gonna end up a bit of an icon tier. Same reason as a blaze. I feel like they're just dependent on the wither to get all their aura. They're a little taller, same as the enderman, but I feel like they just don't hold the same icon status as the enderman. When you ask someone to name a Minecraft mob, they're not going to go, the Wither Skeleton. Let's be honest here. Zombie Villager. Zombie Villager, I think we're going to put in, oh, it's going to be a difficult one. Okay, I love zombifying villagers. I think it's a great... Okay, that sounds a little weird. I don't like turning people into zombies, but I think it's good gameplay mechanic. I love cheap stuff. So yeah, I think the mechanic of villager trading and how that plays into it, as well as allowing you to find villagers in places where you otherwise wouldn't by spawning a zombie villager and then curing it, does bump them up pretty high, and I think I'm going to put them a bit of an icon status. Donkey, I hardly know. Horse, who doesn't remember their first horse? I remember my first horse. He was very slow. I'm looking back on it now, and he was a very slow horse. Didn't do it for me. But I still love horses. There's nothing quite like finding diamond horse armor in a nether fortress going like, man, my guy is going to be so armored. He won't die. He won't die. And indeed, he never does die. Mostly because you never take him out of the stable and you just lose your elytra. The mule, let's be so honest here. Mule makes me sad because, like, why'd they even code that in? Think about it for a second. Who goes out of their way to breed a donkey and a horse? Who goes like, in real life, this makes a mule. I wonder if it'll do anything in Minecraft. Who does that? No. You only know it exists because you saw someone do it in a video or you looked it up. Come on. Be so honest with me right now. No one thinks about the mule. Skeleton horse, I mean, has aura, the way they spawn with the lightning bolt, and there are 4 of them, and enchanted skeletons. That's a little crazy. But they're pretty rare. Pretty standard guy. Zombie horse, these don't even spawn naturally. But they're pretty cool. Actually, I'm going to put them down here because it does make me sad that they don't spawn naturally. Next up is the Elder Guardian, but we're going to do that after the Guardian. For now, we're going to do the Endermite, and yeah, they're here. You use them in Enderman farms. Other than that, you only discover they exist after you throw a couple of Ender Pearls for fun. And you're like, oh, what's this guy? Alright, now we can talk about the Guardian. The Guardian is a pretty iconic part of ocean monuments. I mean, the laser beams are a really good idea. I love the fact that they shoot lasers out of their eyes. It's pretty cool. Um, and you can make pretty good farms out of them. That's pretty good. Pretty stand-up guy. Now, Elder Guardian is a Guardian with more aura, right? They're Elder Guardians. They're beefed up. They're cooler. Or so you'd think. They're kind of pushovers, and there are only 3 of them. They do inflict mining fatigue. However, that's not a good thing. It makes me hate them. I mean, yeah. Nope. Where do you think they're going? I mean, yeah, they're here. The bunny rabbit. I'll be honest. I did not know the bunny rabbit existed for like quite a while. Because you know they don't really do anything. I mean, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. What do they do? Rabbit meat. No one eats rabbit meat. Rabbit hide. I mean, worse leather. And rabbit's foot, which makes potions of leaping, which are useless, by the way. I hate leaping potions because they're useless. Like, they let you jump over fences. That's great. You placed down that fence. That was you. You caused this problem for yourself. Nice job. You make me sad. Although they are pretty cute. Wat zoek je, Poppy? Je hebt voor eten? Shulker, I love the Shulker. Shulker boxes are God's gift to this game. Icon. The husks are okay. They inflict hunger. Don't like that. I think it's cool. I don't like it when it happens to me. I mean, yeah, they're here. Because if I'm being honest with myself, I forgot the husk existed. They would go down in who if I didn't think they were so cool. Polar bear, same deal. They're pretty cool. I like that they exist. It's a cool concept that they exist on ice, on the ocean. But I haven't thought about them in ages. The stray, same deal as the husk. I think they are pretty cool. Haven't thought about them in years. I'm going to talk about the evoker and the vindicator with the rest of the pillagers, but we're going to worry about the llama right now. Llamas are, I'll be honest, llamas in the recent update, pretty useless. Why is that? The drawing point of the llama was that you could make a llama caravan, right? You could lead one llama, and then the rest would follow you, right? And you could store a bunch of items and take them anywhere. And then, recent update comes out, you can lead mobs to other mobs, and they cost way less to make. No more slime balls, which means llama caravan is useless. Ergo, the llama is useless. So we're going to put them in who's here. The Vex, I hate the Vex. It's killed me too much. Pesky bird. I think the parrot's pretty chill. It can sit on your shoulder. That is incredible. It's genius. And I think for that, they are going to maybe go pretty high. Pretty stand-up guy. If they weren't so rare, you would see them much higher. The codfish, I like cod. I like salmon more. When you're fishing, it shows up. Ever since the aquatic update, you just see them swimming around like as a model. I remember when they didn't do that. And when they introduced that, I was flabbergasted. That was a great thing. I love that. But honestly, they don't do too much. I mean, yeah, they're here. Dolphin. Dolphins are pretty cute. They give you dolphin's grace. They are a nightmare to handle. You try to build a dolphin superhighway. If you've done that, you know exactly what I mean. But yeah, I think the cuteness definitely outweighs that, and they're going to end up in pretty stand-up guy. Drowned. Tridents are objectively really cool. Drowned give you tridents, ergo they go pretty high. Drowned also give you nautilus shells. They also go pretty high. There's just a lot of things working for the drowned, and they're actually more prominent than the husks, which only spawn in deserts. So I think we're going to put them as a pretty stand-up guy. Enough said. I have to admit, I'm partial to the pufferfish, and that's because when my cousins came over and we played Minecraft, they didn't know that the pufferfish poisoned you, and I individually gave each of them a pufferfish, and I didn't tell them it poisoned you, and each of them got poisoned and got nauseous, and I watched them like panic and stuff. It was really funny, and everyone fell for it. And I just love pufferfish because I think it's really funny to just walk around and tell people, oh man, I'm just getting a bit hungry, let me eat my food source and eat a pufferfish. It's a great thing to do. Try it sometime. And for that, they're going to go on pretty stand-up guy, because I am aware that they are not as iconic as some of these other mobs. Salmon, same deal as cod. Everything I've said for cod applies to salmon. It upsets me a little bit to put tropical fish in Who tier. Sometimes it's fun to fish up a clownfish while you're fishing, and then you can go like, guys, I found Nemo, and then everyone will laugh and you'll feel good about yourself. So maybe they should go up a tier because they can do that. But for now, it's going to stay down here. Next up is the turtle. The turtle's nice. Drops the scoots. You can make a turtle shell if you're a turtle shell guy. Turtle eggs are useful for farms, but it's just because people want to stomp on them. Maybe that says something. I mean, yeah, they're here. Foxes are nice. You can give them emeralds. Sometimes they have emeralds. Okay. They only spawn in tigers. Sure. I'm not going to hold that against you. But I just don't really think about the fox that much. And the only way to tame one is to take a baby away from its parents, and I think that's maybe a little weird. Who tier? Pandas are nice. I think it's a shame they only spawn in bamboo jungles. I mean, it makes sense, but you don't see them very often. And they also have a lot of complexity, which is weird. You can get brown pandas, and then you can get baby brown pandas, and then sick baby brown pandas. And there's a whole lot of headache with these pandas, and I think maybe it's not worth all of that. I mean, yeah, they exist. Alright, now we've got these guys. And I think if I had to rank them independently, we're going to go Evoker is going to end up a pretty stand-up guy tier, because he drops the totem when dying. That's pretty good. But he's not an icon in the same way the Pillager is, which we're going to put up here. Ravager ends up here because he's a good meme. And the Vindicator is going to end up in... I mean, yeah, they're here. But if you think about them in the context of the raid, the idea of a Ravager being ridden by a Pillager is crazy. It's like, that's such a cool idea, and I feel like I can't put it in the same tier, but just know, I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. Same with the Vindicator. I feel like you don't know fear until you're like in a woodland mansion and you turn the corner and a Vindicator is staring you down, axe in his hand, chasing you. You haven't looked fear in the eyes and had it whisper in your ear, run, until you've seen that happen. And that bumps it up a tier for me, I think. Wandering Trader Llama. I mean, you used to kill them to get leads. Now leads are free, just string. You don't even do that anymore. Wandering Trader, who? I mean, sometimes they're useless. Sometimes they're okay. You know, they trade like a piece of wood that you really need or a sapling that you're looking for. Also, if you're playing on like one of those weird challenge worlds, the Wandering Trader are like your only connection to the rest of the world. You know, I rather like the bee. I like honey. It's good in slime farms. Sorry, it's good in conjunction with slime. And I think for that reason it's going to end up in the same tier as slime. Although, it gets bonus points for being a little cutie patootie. Hoglin. Never heard of him. Piglin. Now this is difficult. Piglin doesn't have the same argument as a zombie piglin for replacing the zombie pigman, because it's a different thing. It's unique, and I think that gives it points. Plus, Pigstep is a banger. Pretty stand-up guy. Piglin Brew. It's the same as the piglin, but the same fear of turning a corner and seeing an axe-wielding maniac staring you down that a Vindicator has. I feel like it's maybe a little less iconic. You don't see them walking around, they're only in bastions. So I think for that reason, I mean, yeah, they're here. Strider, let's be honest, who thinks about Striders? I mean, you can ride them in the nether. Maybe they're a bit novel the first time, but then every other time after that you're using Elytra. I mean, if you've gotten to the point where you feel safe enough riding Striders around, because that's scary. Like, it's a lava underneath you. You ever think about that? No, because you haven't ridden a Strider. No one rides Striders. Who tier? Zoglins make me sad. The only reason that they're not lower is because that tier doesn't exist. But also because saying Zoglin is pretty fun. Other than that, they're really weird to spawn. You need to bring a Hoglin into the overworld. Can't bother to do all that. So you basically never see them. Axolotl has received a lot of good press simply for being cute, and I get it. They're an icon. The Glow Squid. It should have been the Moobloom. The goat, I mean, you see goats in mountain biomes, but you don't really think about them often. The horns are really fun on multiplayer servers, because you can blow on a horn and then You know, that you hear that across the server, and then they blow on their horn, and it's like we're like talking to each other, and you feel really cool on the inside. Um, but other than that, that's the only thing they have going for them. But it's a pretty good thing to have going for you. I mean, yeah, they're here. Allays, I feel like everyone thought allays were like going to be God's gift to sorting systems, and then no one really uses them anyway. Yeah, a lot of missed potential. Um, I mean, it's kind of cool how they look like purified vexes, but you know, it's whatever. You feel me? I feel like they have to go in Hoot here. Frogs, I love frogs. I could talk for ages about frogs. Probably not actually. I don't really have that much to say about frogs, but I like how they were the first to introduce like the variants, and froglights are great. I think it's funny that they used to be able to eat goats, but I'll never forgive that one guy for getting Firefly removed. Although they are now bushes, and I like that they're bushes. I think that's a great block. It's very fun. Maybe an improvement over Fireflies themselves, because now they're not just exclusive to swamps. You know what I mean? Now they can be anywhere, and you can put them in your base. I don't remember how it was originally going to work, but maybe it was actually an improvement, and maybe we got the better. We got the better, and maybe we got the better ending. Maybe it was for the best that this happened. Anyway, that's a tangent. I love frogs. They go up there. Warden is pretty cool. Maybe it does count as the third boss, but I feel like it's not as much of an icon as the Wither is, or the End Dragon for that matter. But they're pretty cool, and they definitely strike a certain fear in you. But they don't have the same icon status. They're not as well known. Camel, I feel like Camel's fun for a couple seconds, and then you ride your horse again. Definitely missed potential. Are an okay concept, but have to go to Hoot here. Sniffer, come on. Sniffers make me very sad. I mean, this whole hyped up archaeology update. And I voted for the Sniffer in the mob vote. But still, I'm very disappointed with how that came out. The armadillo is alright. I don't really think about the armadillo, but I mean, yeah, sure. Bogged. No one thinks about the bogged. I mean, they just got introduced. I don't even know what the bogged is. I could tell you the stray inflicts slowness, but I have no idea what the bog does. No clue. And then last but not least, definitely not least, we have the breeze. Now the breeze is alright. They drop wind charges. Wind charges are pretty cool. Um, they're also like associated with the mace, and that's pretty good. I'd put them in pretty stand-up guy tier. So yeah, here's my tier list. I will be accepting questions. However, I will refuse to change my mind unless you've got a good point. Thanks for watching, and bye bye.